Namaskar. Welcome to another episode of Editorial. As I record this show, our consultant editor, Shri Vinod Dua, is critical and is in ICU. He's fighting for his life. I hope and I pray for his health. I hope and I pray to give a lot of strength to his daughter, his family. Justice N.V. Ramanna made a statement today. In his statement, he said that, it is a sorry state of affair that there are no debates in our parliaments. Bills gets passed without debates. Let's discuss that in detail. That's my topic number one. My topic number two is, yesterday was the Maha Vikas Aghadi, the government of Maharashtra, completed 2 years. Let's talk about Maha Vikas Aghadi and the 2 years of Maha Vikas Aghadi. Let's get right into the show. Now, the Chief Justice of India, Justice N.V. Ramanna, said it is a sorry state of affair and the absence of quality debate leaves many aspects of law unclear, increasing the burden on the court. A very important statement, and let me elaborate this statement for you. What exactly did he mean? You see, laws are not discussed, they are not debated, they are not sent to committees, parliamentary committees. None of this happens. So what really happens is, when the law is implemented, when the bill gets transformed to an act and that act has to be implemented, chances are people do not accept it. Chances are that act does not work in the society. And then what happens? Everything goes to court. Everything goes to court. Abrogation of Article 370 went to court. Farm Bill went to court. Every act that is being passed goes to court. Burden किसका बढ़ता है? Court का बढ़ता है. Now, mind you, our courts are already burdened. So what the Chief Justice is saying makes a lot of sense. We are already an overburdened court, and upar se every bill that is being converted into an act, if that also comes and falls on the shoulders of the court kahan jayega bhai? Where is the court going to go? Now, I have done a show on the debates that happens in the parliament and the time that a bill takes to be converted into an act. I have done a show on this. In fact, I will still do it once again. I will still tell you I'll give you some figures to just make you understand that the amount of time that is spent by our lawmakers who are sitting there, who are our representatives, who sits and who the government spends a lot of money, which means the taxpayers spend a lot of money for them to sit there, and I will try and tell you the kind of time they spend on a particular bill, debating a particular bill. Let me take you through some of it. The Constitution, that is 127th Amendment Bill 2021, Lok Sabha spent 474 minutes, that is 8 hours, debating the bill, and Rajya Sabha spent 360 minutes, which is 6 hours, debating the bill. This was one bill that had the maximum amount of debate as far as the 17th Lok Sabha is concerned. Now let us go to the next bill, the Tribunal Reforms Bill 2021. Lok Sabha spent mere 9 minutes to debate the bill, and Rajya Sabha spent 62 minutes debating the bill. Let us go to the Essential Defence Services Bill 2021. Lok Sabha spent 12 minutes debating the bill. Rajya Sabha spent 46 minutes debating the bill. The Insolvency and the Bankruptcy Code Amendment Bill 2021, 5 minutes spent in Lok Sabha, 37 minutes spent in Rajya Sabha. Inland Vessel Bill, 6 minutes spent in Lok Sabha, 33 minutes spent in Rajya Sabha. The Taxation Laws Amendment Bill 2021, 6 minutes in Lok Sabha, 32 minutes in Rajya Sabha. The Limited Liability Partnership Amendment Bill 2021, 5 minutes in Lok Sabha, 23 minutes in Rajya Sabha. The Airports Economic Regulatory Authority of India Amendment Bill 2021, 14 minutes in Lok Sabha and 7 minutes in Rajya Sabha. This is the status of how our lawmakers. This is the importance given to a bill that turns into an act and that forms a part of our lives. This is the importance that our lawmakers are giving it to it. Now let me give you some more details. Let's go to some more figures. The percentage of bill introduced and passed in the same session. In 15th Lok Sabha, 18% was introduced and passed in the same session. In the 16th Lok Sabha, 33% bills were introduced and passed in the same session, and in the 17th Lok Sabha, 70% bills were introduced and passed in the same session. Now you will ask me, "Arey, acha hai na? Arey, acha hai? If the bill has to be passed, your bill gets passed, it becomes an act and it is good for the people." Well, that's what the Chief Justice is actually talking about. Bills getting passed from a theoretical perspective, very good. But the bill needs to be discussed. The bill needs to go to parliamentary committees. Parliamentary committees are committees which has people, experts from the industry coming and deliberating on the bill. That is when the bill becomes flawless. The act therefore becomes flawless and therefore it helps the society. If you don't do it, एक bill आया दिखा pass कर दिया, second bill आया pass कर दिया, third bill आया pass कर दिया, that is not going to help the society. So passing the bills, if I pass 1,000 bills, that does not make me a effective and an efficient government. That is not how it works. If each of my bills are deliberated, each of my bills are discussed, and every small nuances of that bill is discussed, deliberated, and thought through, that's when a bill becomes effective. That's when the government becomes effective. I'll give you some more details. Let's talk about percentage of bill that has been referred to committees, which is what I told you, the parliament committees, where there are experts, industry experts who deliberates on the bill. In the 14th Lok Sabha, 60% of the bills were given to committees to deliberate, discuss, and then give expert recommendation. On the 15th Lok Sabha, 71% of the bills were given to committees to give special recommendation, to give expert recommendation. 16th Lok Sabha, only 27% of the bills were given to experts. And on the 17th Lok Sabha, only 12% of the bills were given to experts to deliberate on. So rest, everybody, finance ho ya, health ho ya, education ho ya, irrigation ho ya, agriculture ho ya, whatever was passed by those people sitting inside the well. They passed it 8 minutes, 6 minutes, 4 minutes, 5 minutes, 3 minutes, without deliberation, without debate. Bill came, yes, go, done, act. After that, everybody, huge protest, doesn't get implemented, and then it goes to the court and then it sits in the court. This is exactly what's happening. This is exactly what's happening. And that's what the Honorable Chief Justice of India mentioned in his speech. Now, this is something which is very important to all of us. Because mind you, whichever party we belong to, whichever party one supports, whichever party you are backing, you please understand there is a process that is called the parliament. Parliament is a process. It is not politics. That process of the parliament has to be followed no matter which party you belong to. And that process involves debating. That process involves deliberating, and most importantly, that process involves taking a bill and giving it to experts and saying that भैया ये agriculture है ना, agriculture ये हमको नहीं मालूम, आप बताओ, you are expert, you are PhD in agriculture, double PhD in agriculture, internationally known agricultural scientist, बताओ, are we saying the right thing? Health, doctors, experts, scientists, batao, are we saying the right thing? This is how it is supposed to be done. We are India. It's a huge country. This is how the parliamentary process functions. Not that because I have got 303 seats, I am the king, I have got huge strength and my way or highway and all that. All this doesn't work, shouldn't work. This is not the way parliament should function. And that's the point I wanted to make here. The last point before I end this topic. When I discussed this topic last time, a lot of my viewers wrote back to me saying, what is the opposition doing, Baba? What opposition doesn't allow the government to function? So, kya karega government? You see, the fact that the opposition doesn't allow the government to function is something that the government is responsible. The government of the day is responsible to ensure that the parliament of the day functions and functions well. Bharatiya Janata Party, when they were in the opposition, they too were creating a lot of ruckus in the parliament and in the Lok Sabha. They too have ensured that a lot of bills were not passed. They too ensured it. But the fact is, I will not say, oh, Bharatiya Janata Party was the opposition. They didn't ensure that the bill passed. Therefore, poor Congress or poor UPA, they couldn't pass the bill. So, it is not their fault. One never says that. If you can't pass the bill, that is the problem of the ruling government, ruling party. That's their problem. This is part of politics. Likewise, today if NDA is in the hot seat, it is NDA's job to ensure that there is decorum in the well, and they do whatever it takes to ensure that they deliberate, they debate, and they have a well thought through, deliberated, debated bill that goes to, if need be, and possibly a good thing to go to committees through committee recommendation, and then the bill gets implemented. I conclude by saying passing bills is not the sign of an efficient government. Seeing, deliberating, and ensuring that the bill is thoroughly thought through and then implementing the bill is the sign of an efficient government. Let's get into our next topic. The Maha Vikas Aghadi completed 2 years yesterday. Now, right from the day one, why Maha Vikas Aghadi is such an interesting case study? Right from the day one, everybody said, ye government 10 din mein girega. This government will fall in 15 days. This government fall in 1 month. This government will fall in 6 months. Acha, not only common people, even the bureaucrats, believe me, I have a lot of friends in the bureaucracy. Even the bureaucrats would think that, this government, God knows how much will it last. It may fall next month, it may fall 4 months. Oh, there were rumors that tomorrow, Monday morning, 9 o'clock, this government will fall. There were rumors like that. And it used to be a lot of fun. But this government never fell. And what is the secret? The secret is not that this government was, very tightly bound, very close together, nothing of that sort. That was not the reason. This government never fell because BJP wanted this government to fall. That's the reason. And I will explain to you why. You see, BJP, I always believe this, and I have said this many a times. BJP is a brilliant opposition party. It's a good opposition party, possibly because most of its time, most of its existence, it has been sitting in the opposition. But BJP per se is a good opposition party. But this time around, BJP forgot to do the work of the opposition. BJP, other than doing the work of the opposition, was more focused on somehow pulling down the Maha Vikas Aghadi government. Why? Because BJP thought that, these three people, they are three different ideologies. NCP and Congress were more or less the same ideology. But Shiv Sena was a complete different ideology. It was a right-wing ideology, which was part of BJP. So they said, idhar udhar jaane wala, it's all different ideologies. So pulling down will be very easy, Baba. So their focus completely moved from being a good opposition, working for the people of Maharashtra, to trying and making the Maha Vikas Aghadi shaky or creating problems for the Maha Vikas Aghadi. Now, was Maha Vikas Aghadi a great government? Not really. They were, if I were to rate them, I will rate them as below average. Their performance, to my mind, has been below average. They have not been a great performer. That said, COVID too was handled pretty decently by Uddhav Thackeray. I will say that too. But I will not give them plus mark and all that. Nothing. Okay, they were a fairly average to below average government. Chalo, I will say that. Now, what really made Maha Vikas Aghadi tick? Was it the ideology? No, not at all. NCP thinks one direction, Congress to a certain extent close to NCP's thinking, but still another direction, and Shiv Sena thinks on a completely different direction. So it was not ideology. Then what? It was basically necessity. It was the threat. So when I told you it is BJP that ensured that Maha Vikas Aghadi stood tight and now they are a tight bunch, is because of all the threats that would happen on all these leaders. Every time there was an ED, IT, whatever T threat on a MVA leader, that is Maha Vikas Aghadi leader, the group came together. The bond grew closer. Everybody tried to go to everybody and be close to each other. Sanjay Raut went to Rahul Gandhi, went to Sonia Gandhi, got two different groups. Shiv Sena and Congress, two radically different groups came together. Why? Because it was necessary for them to come together. NCP and Shiv Sena came together. At one point in time, there were talks that NCP is talking to BJP. Possibly they would also. I don't know, but but all the same, they were talking to NCP. NCP is talking to BJP. NCP is talking to that. NCP is talking to this. What happened? Nothing. All that stopped. All of these people came close to each other, not because they loved each other, because they wanted to stay close to each other so they can get protected from all the EDs and ITs that BJP was laying out for them. So if they are together today, it is completely thanks to the BJP attack on them, or BJP or whatever IT raids and all of them. So this is the point number one. Point number two is, if you look at the working of MVA, I will not say that they are the best, because this was a chance, this was a second chance they got to come back to power, to prove that they are a good party, to prove that they are a good alternative to Bharatiya Janata Party, not just in Maharashtra, maybe to prove across the country that they are a good alternative to Maha Vikas Aghadi. They somehow took it very lightly. There were corruption charges on the Home Minister, the Commissioner of Police, then Mr. Parambir Singh. What all charges were on him of extortion and threats and all of that. All this happened in this government. And you know why I'm surprised? Because this was the same government that was there in Maharashtra for almost 1.5 decades. They were governing Maharashtra. They were experienced in governing Maharashtra. And then having problem with Home Ministry, Commissioner of Police. How could they do it? What were they thinking? This was their second chance. They should have gone out of their way to ensure that they govern immaculately. They give a clean and efficient governance to Maharashtra. They didn't do that. This was an opportunity for them to pick up the best and the most effective ministers and put them and give them the right portfolios. I don't know whether they did that. So what surprises me is that somebody like Sharad Pawar, this is his kind of experience, I thought he would do a better job of allocating best person for the best job, which he didn't. So that was point number two as far as the efficiency of the Maha Vikas Aghadi is concerned. The third thing is, I want to talk about the efficiency of Devendra Fadnavis as an opposition leader. You see, Devendra Fadnavis, I remember once upon a time, a very senior leader of the then Yuti Sarkar, that was NCP and Congress, a very senior minister of that government had once told me that, one of the persons you got to be very careful about in parliament is Devendra Fadnavis. They said, you got to be very careful of that man, because that man comes very prepared in the parliament, in the assembly. He comes very prepared in the assembly. His questions are very, very pointed, and he studies his subject and he comes well read. So they said, that if he is asking you a question, you better be very careful, Baba, because the young boy, he was young then, those days. So young man, but very effective. This was the impression I had of a young Devendra Fadnavis 15 years back. But somewhere down the line, I think he digressed. He digressed into, working on Sushant Singh's case, which they didn't do well. It didn't benefit them. Neither did it benefit them in Bihar, nor did it benefit them in Maharashtra. He went into the Antilia case, where I think he did a good job. I would say he did a fantastic job for that. At least he brought the truth out. But then it didn't finally benefit him, because the person, the commissioner of police who was sitting in Maharashtra was bought up by the NDA Sarkar, by the BJP Shiv Sena government, when he was brought in as commissioner of Thane. So, that didn't do well. So a lot of strategies which was focused on different directions, but not the direction that they should have focused on, which is the development of Maharashtra. I think that didn't do well for Devendra Fadnavis. Devendra Fadnavis was not acting like his character normally is, which is basically a well-read parliamentarian, a person who goes deep dives into issues of the people and then brings it about. That is what was expected out of Devendra Fadnavis, which didn't happen in the last 2 years. So that is what I wanted to talk about Devendra Fadnavis. But that being said, like I say, I would conclude this part of my episode by saying that, listen, you know what? Mahavikas Aghadi will be stronger, more stronger, till such time that Bharatiya Janata Party focuses on pulling them down instead of going to the assembly and talking for the people. That's how I'd like to conclude this episode. So that's as far as Mahavikas Aghadi is concerned. And before I end, like I said before, I repeat, there are some cases against us, against our reporters in Tripura. We are fighting a legal battle. We need your help. We need your subscription. And we desperately need it. I would urge you to please subscribe HW News Network. Please subscribe to us. Whatever your budgets are, please subscribe to us. Help us tide this problem over. And help us to continue our news without fear and without favor. And make us and reinstate the belief that we always have, that you are behind us. Till I see you next time. Namaskar.